Welcome to District 99 Lunchtime Live. It's April, and welcome to our monthly updates here on our Facebook Live feed. What we're going to talk about today is the ongoing topic of pedestrian safety, along with a district budget update. We just had our third quarter budget update. Master Facility Plan, the budget has been released for the next 3 years worth of construction. We're going to talk a little bit about the efforts we're making both in the district, but then wider in state federal around workplace readiness. We're going to talk a little bit about a new Illinois Consolidated District Plan and the opportunity to provide feedback coming up. That's around grants and those kinds of things. And then a reminder, last day of school has been moved to Thursday, May 30th, based on those snow and cold days that we had earlier this year. Glad those are behind us. So, quick update on pedestrian safety. We've been really busy for several months looking at ways that we can improve pedestrian safety. Obviously, after the tragic accident outside of North High, we had a lot of suggestions come in since then. And both District 99 and the Village of Downers Grove has been collecting ideas and suggestions of how we could improve the areas around both high schools. And immediately there was some feedback that came in around the timing of lights at near North High at Main Street and Grant. And since then that light has had some changes made by the Village of Downers Grove to get some predictability in how that light works. We also have met many times with the Village of Downers Grove around potential changes in the future. And what we've decided to do is to bring in a third-party expert to kind of take a look at both schools and the area around it and to make recommendations for improvements in pedestrian safety around both schools. We expect that report to come in over the summer, and then we'll figure out the priority order of changes and work collaboratively with the village to make appropriate changes around both schools. We've also received a proposal from our architectural firm to look at pedestrian bridge walkways at both schools. That will go into the suggestions that also come back from this third-party expert. So we have already prepared a proposal to design a bridge for at North High, but the initial preliminary studies at South High show that a pedestrian walkway right now is not feasible because we don't own property on both sides of 63rd Street. So our architect will provide for us what things we would have to consider if we ever chose to put in such a pedestrian walkway. Things like property, there's some significant power lines on 63rd Street. We also have some challenges or some issues with the fact that 63rd Street is not just Village of Downers Grove either, it's also DuPage County. So there's a lot of factors that play into 63rd Street. But we do know an improvement in 63rd Street is coming. One of our community members has been advocating for a stoplight at Springside and 63rd Street with a walk signal, and she's been successful in advocating for that. So we understand within the next year that should show up. So we're happy to see that item coming to our neighborhood. Along with that, we're also working on advocacy around improving safety around schools across the state. Our board has been active in working on a resolution to go to the Illinois Association of School Boards to advocate for legislation that would improve safety across the state, especially around all schools, but high schools are treated a little different than elementary schools, and we want to kind of have some of those same considerations around high schools. So we're going to work on that over the next year as well. So stay tuned. We'll continue to update the community on our progress around pedestrian safety. We just had our third quarter district budget report, and we're on pace for a balanced budget. There's, a budget is a prediction of what's going to happen, and then the year happens. We've had some reduced revenues coming in from the state of Illinois, specifically around special education costs. Also, corporate personal property replacement tax, otherwise known as CPPRT, has also been reduced by the state of Illinois. So that's a significant reduction in revenues coming in. We've responded appropriately by looking for ways that we can cut around the district without impacting student programming, but we've also had some additional revenues come in through interest. Interest is higher than we expected this year. And we also, in outplace tuition of mostly our special education students that are in outplace settings, we've had a reduction in that cost. It's come in below what we expected to this year. So as a result, things are shifting around, but we expect to be balanced at the end of the year. Master Facility Plan budget has also been fully designed and spec'd out as we've finished the design process, and I've done a few rounds of bidding, so we have an idea of where we expect costs to come in. So when we break the whole budget down, what you'll see is the hard costs at both schools, the construction costs, a little over $42 million at North and a little over $56 million at South. And then all of the other costs that go into it, this comes into our what we call a GMAX contract. That's a guaranteed maximum contract with our builder that the project will come in on budget at that cost. Then we have some other district costs, about $14 million worth of costs associated with the plan. Those two budgets, the GMAX contract, a little over $122 million, plus the owner's costs of $14 million, bring us in that number of $136.6 million, which was what was passed as the referendum. A reminder that those costs, those funds, can only be used for this building project. So that's kind of how it breaks down. There's additional information on our website. If you go to csd99.org and click on the Master Facility Plan in the top corner, you can see more details about this, as well as sign up for our Facility Fridays, and every week you'll receive updates on the Master Facility Plan. We've also been informed from the company that does our bonds that there'll be an opportunity for community members to purchase bonds. This was one of the questions that came up frequently as we talked about the Master Facility Plan and the referendum and the bond issuance over the last year. So we've worked out a way so that community members that would like to invest in the Master Facility Plan through bond purchases and get some of that interest back can do so by purchasing bonds in $5,000 increments between June 5th and June 27th. And soon there'll be information up on our website, and that'll go out through the Facility Fridays as well. So a great way to keep touch of what's going on there. Okay, something that's we've been working on behind the scenes a little bit, and I'd like to share with the community, and this is something of great concern in our community and in the state of Illinois, is preparing students for the world of work, workplace readiness. And one of the things that we've continued to talk about is that after high school, all of our students will hopefully do two things. They'll get a job someday, and they'll continue to learn. And workplace readiness goes hand in hand with career and college readiness. Those are all of those things that we're talking about around there. So we want to make sure that our students are prepared to work and learn into the future. So associated with that, within the district goals in the student experience is obviously learning. And then one of our future goals is to develop a more robust workplace readiness program. We know that many of our students post-high school will either go right into the world of work or will work part-time and go to school part-time. So we want to make sure that students that think that that's their pathway, that they will have skills and be prepared to go into those workplaces. This is also supported through Illinois state law that's been signed in recently, the POWER Act, that really sets up some pathways for the workplace. And we see a lot of other schools developing in this area and community colleges as well. And then last year you've heard me talk about ESSA, and that is the new federal accountability measure, Every Student Succeeds Act. And when you take a look at that, one of the factors that all of our students will have will be these career ready indicators. These are things where it's been shown that if students have these experiences, they will be more ready for the workplace. So many of these things we have in place, but what we'll be doing over the next couple of years is tracking this and making sure that students have 3 of these. Every student has 3 of these by the time that they graduate. We also have programming around workplace readiness already in our schools, including our college and career centers offer preparation both for college but careers. And if you go there, you'll see this video. about our college and career centers where we invited in local nurses to talk to our students about what that career was. So you can check that out online and see a little bit around the career aspect of our college and career center. Our larger workplace program, which is more traditionally was thought of as vocational education, is the Technology Center of DuPage, where we offer many career opportunities ranging from fire science to cosmetology to culinary. There's a wide variety of experiences where students can go there, and our students have had great success in that program. You can read more about that on our website as well. And then one of the things we've been working on over the last year is helping our teachers better understand what workplace opportunities are in our community. So last year, our Assistant Superintendent Gina Zaccardi put together a program where 20 of our staff members went out over a 3-day period of time and did workplace visits. They went to different industries around the community and spent parts of a day there, seeing what work was like there, talking to the people that work there to find out what skills they would like our students to have, and then came back and developed and pulled all that material together into some lesson plans to put into work this year. We have a lot of future ideas coming, so please stay tuned over the next year as you hear us talk more about workplace readiness and the partnerships that we're making around this. Finally, one of the changes that's coming in the state of Illinois is a consolidated district plan. This is around really grant funding. We receive several federal and state grants here, things around students of a lower economic background, special education, bilingual, technical ed. There's a variety of different grants that used to be all separate plans that are going to be folded into one. And we'll put together kind of this holistic plan. Over the next several months, as we develop this plan, we'll be reaching out to a variety of different people in the community to participate and offer feedback. So be on the lookout for that information. Finally, up and coming on May 6th at 4 p.m. at South High and May 20th at 4 p.m. at North High are our groundbreaking celebrations to mark the construction phase that's going to begin over the next 3 years. We have a big community event planned for both. We'll have cool shovels there for pictures and some construction equipment, and you'll get to see the big debut of the construction process. This will be a historic event, and we hope to see you out there to celebrate the changes that are coming in our schools. So as always, we end with Q&A, but before we get into that, a reminder, the next Lunchtime Live will be May 22nd. That will be the last one for this school year before we head into the summer. So Jill, looks like we have a couple of questions.
Just a concern about the situation that happened at South that was revealed on social media. If we could just talk about the ways we keep students safe at South and the fine line between privacy and
So specific student discipline, we're unable to comment just on what happened around a specific incident. But generally speaking, anytime that we're made aware that something inappropriate happened between two students of any nature, we're going to investigate that, we're going to involve the parents, and we're going to respond appropriately in line with school discipline, legal, the laws, both locally and across the state or federally. And we're going to always consider the best interest of all students. We have a responsibility to maintain an appropriate educational environment for all of our students, and we always strive to do that. So we will consider all of those factors as we look at a specific situation. And for each student involved in that situation, our goal is to provide the appropriate learning environment for all of our students at all times, and to make sure that our students feel safe within that. But really, we have a duty to provide an appropriate educational environment, and we'll always strive to do so.
So here's a question about tenure. And what does that mean for the teacher, and what does that mean for the general public?
Sure. Tenure is offered by the state of Illinois, and if you have 4 years of continual service within a district, in the 5th year in which you return, you receive tenure. what that offers you is some additional protections from termination. But beyond that, that's really what it is. There's a law called Senate Bill 7 that really outlines the conditions in which this happens and works and how you achieve it. But really, it's a protection offered to educators for continued service.
So, as part of the master facility plan, can you talk about how that expands educational opportunities specific to the culinary labs and the culinary labs versus TCD?
Oh, sure. So it's an interesting approach that we'll have with that. Culinary is an area that's grown drastically, especially in student interest over the years. And I think a lot of the cooking shows you see on TV, a lot of the things you see in social media that are little cooking clips, have really brought this idea of culinary to the forefront of our students' minds and experiences. So what we try to do here is to provide an introductory level of culinary, and our labs will do that to provide kind of the first introductory phases for students that might want to just become better at cooking for their personal lives or for entertaining, or for those that are taking the first steps into a life of working in a culinary industry. So ours are to cover the full gamut from what you would do in your house to the introductory stages of what you would do in industry. And then TCD would be that next step above it for if you really wanted to be in an industrial cooking setting. And that's TCD is really set up for all the different flavors, no pun intended, of culinary that are out there, that you could have an experience in all of those industry type settings on a larger scale and really prepare you to go into that pathway of work.
Do we think we'll have more sections of culinary at our classrooms or in our schools?
Yeah, we expect that both labs will be full all the time, and we expect that we'll be able to maybe over time change some of our offerings because of what the labs provide. Right now our labs are low-end home kitchens. These ones will be just short of what you would see in an industry. So not only will we be able to fill those up all day with courses, but over time I would imagine our courses would grow and change to match student interest and those career pathways.
That's it.
All right, well, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in May, and have a good rest of your day. Thank you.